What's up, guys, and welcome back to Trap House Garage. Today I'm gonna get rid of some of this wiring harness under the hood and in the cab of the car. I did have it just kind of balled up in the corner, but I hated the way it looked. So I guess today I'm gonna finally tackle tearing that out. Hopefully it's not too bad. It is gonna be the passenger side on the car. The actual harness that runs into the factory computer, it's a giant mess, and like I said, I just had it balled up and stuffed down in the corner where it comes out of the firewall. But it wasn't terrible, but I just didn't like the way it looked in there, so I am going to get that out of here. Let me spin the camera around and show you guys kind of exactly what I'm going to be doing here. I had it balled up, I just undid it all. It is this giant, ugly harness that runs factory all down the side here, and it does run over along the firewall to that side and connects. But yeah, it's huge, ugly. I no longer need it, obviously. The factory computer is not in the car anymore. Like I said, you don't need it if you're going to be doing some kind of LS swap or any other newer engine that doesn't rely on that. The factory computer is in the passenger side kick panel. Pretty easy to take out. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. You pop the kick panel off and it's right there, and it just has the one bolt that runs down through it to plug in. So like I said, I do have that out already. That's been out for a long time. It's actually laying in a box over here. But yeah, it's finally time to get it out of there. I won't ever need it again. And judging by how big it is and nasty, it probably has a little bit of weight to it. So it never hurts to take a little bit of weight out of the car and to clean it up. Because other than the LS wiring harness, there's really nothing left, even on the driver's side here. There's a couple back there, but that's my headlight harness, and that does run into the shock tower and through my fender here and up to the headlights. I do have a couple grounds in there for my fan, solenoid, and stuff like that. But other than that, that side's pretty much bare. I got some vacuum hoses back there for my booster and stuff. Obviously that stuff all has to stay. But originally on these cars you do have, like I said, the giant wire loom that runs across right here that's super ugly. I already had that all disconnected from over here and, like I said, tucked over in the corner, smashed down in here. But it was ugly. It was kind of close to, since it's so big, it was kind of close to the exhaust, even smashed in this corner. So I'm going to go ahead and start tearing all this out of here. Hopefully it's not too bad to get the big computer plug out through the firewall. There is, down in this corner, a big rubber, whatever you want to call it, grommet in there. So I'm going to have to pop that out, and then, like I said, hopefully I can get that big computer connector up out of there, because the heater box and everything obviously is right there. So hopefully I can fish it up through and it'll come out this hole and hopefully be no big deal. But there's not really any videos explaining how to do this. I mean, there's not much to explain, but nobody really shows what you have to do. So whether it's easy, whether it's hard, I'm going to show you guys exactly what you have to do to get it out of there. Like I said, you do need to come into the car here. If yours still has the computer and everything in it, you will pop this kick panel off, and then the computer is literally right in there, and you'll just disconnect that, pull the computer out, and it's pretty much ready to pull out. So let me get to work here, and I'll be back with an update. As usual, I don't have anybody here to film for me, so I'm not going to be able to show you exactly, so I'm just going to have to update you and kind of fill you in on what I had to do. So let's get to it here. So that wasn't too bad. this was the grommet I was talking about, this big thing here. I used a screwdriver to get behind it and kind of popped it out and then pulled on the wiring harness. Now, I did get a bunch of the harness out, and it started getting a little snug. So I'm going to get inside the car in that kick panel again and make sure it's not hung up on anything, because you only have probably this much gap between the actual car and the heater box that it has to slide perfectly up in there and not get hung up. So I'm going to make sure it's not hung up so I don't start slicing wires if I start yanking on it and stuff like that. So let me see if I can't get this out of here and be back with you. Alright, and here it is. That wasn't real bad. It actually squeezed out of there pretty easily. But yeah, you see how big this harness really is. Look at this door shut. Let me spread it out here. So this is all your, if you do have a mass air car, this is all your mass air wiring. Pretty much everything you need to run the engine, other than your injector harness, which plugs into your salt and pepper shakers here. Obviously, I already had those removed. This, once I looked up in there, was it this one? Yeah, I think it was. You do have to, this is what I was hung up on, you do have to disconnect this inside the car. It's right with the computer. You just have to pop this green plug out. And this relay here, I thought was connected to something up in the dash, because when you look up in there, it kind of looks like it's connected to something and runs into the dash somewhere. So I was kind of worried about that, but once I dropped the glove box, realized that it wasn't even connected to anything. It was just kind of just this relay chilling up in behind the glove box. So I just pushed that out and it fell down by the computer. So that wasn't really any big deal. And really it wasn't that bad to get out. But like I said, you see how big this harness really is. This is your computer connector here. It does slide out pretty easy. Just watch the bolt here. It kind of gets hung up and you have to kind of force it up like this to get it to come out of the hole. But other than that, I mean, it was kind of snug. You just kind of yank on it. Don't, try to He-Man it or nothing. Just slowly, lightly tug on it and it'll come out. It wasn't bad at all. I don't know if I got lucky maybe, because I've seen other people say it's kind of a pain to get it out. But honestly, it basically slid right out. It wasn't really any big deal. I did have to pull it a little bit and then get inside the car and kind of push the computer connector over here kind of up where it needed to go so it followed the right path, because it was trying to go behind the heater box. And that's what I mean by don't just unhook it and just start ripping on it, because you're either not going to get it out because it's going to get wedged behind the heater box and then be a huge pain, or you're just going to start slicing into all the wires, which is, my battery died. So anyways, where were we here? I don't exactly remember what I was saying, but something along the lines of don't try to just yank this. Like I said, I had to kind of guide it where it needed to go and then come back outside the car and gently tug it, and then it popped out to where I could at least see that the computer connector was right there at the firewall hole. And then I just gently got my hands in there and wiggled it a bit until it came out, and it's out. Like I said, it wasn't bad. Just kind of wanted to make this video showing how to get it out and how big it really is. And I bet you it weighs every bit of probably 10 pounds or so. This is what your computer does sit in. Kind of the factory holder or whatever you want to call it. Now, you don't have a ton of room over here. It is a little tight because your factory brake lines and stuff do run right here, your hard lines, and you kind of got to get under them, and that's the hole in the firewall. I may cut the grommet off of that harness to put back in here. I'm not sure yet. I don't really like having a giant hole in the firewall like that. But yeah, I mean, it cleaned it up a ton instead of a bunch of wires being back there. Now everything's nice and tidy, or tidy-ish for now anyways. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There ain't nothing to it but to do it. It was pretty easy, as it should have been, but like I said, I've heard people say that it's a nightmare and a pain to get it out, and you gotta have two people, one pulling and one kind of guiding. Yeah, I didn't need any of that. It was pretty simple. But I did take my gauges out. I decided I'm not going to use them, at least for the time being, and it made it a lot more stock looking. I was going to remove the tack also, because I'm pretty sure my scan gauge reads RPM, but in the future I will be racing this car most likely still, not anything serious, you know, just having fun with friends, and I'd like to leave that in there, I think, just in case I ever do go back with a manual valve body or anything. That way I'm not trying to watch a digital readout that may be off a little bit, and I'd rather have a shift light to flash and blind me, so then I know that I need to shift. So I'll probably leave that in there, even though, other than that, the car looks like it's bone stock again. I mean, you look inside and can't really tell that it's LS swapped. It's a factory shifter. Like I said in the other video, those gauges, don't really know what to do with them. Don't really need them anymore, but I don't want to have giant holes there, so I'm just going to leave them in for the time being. But yeah, like I said, factory shifter, no more pillar pod or anything. It looks pretty factory, and I'm pretty happy with it. I am looking at some seats right now that I'd really like to get for this. Like I said, that seat's got some tears, but it's not horrible, I guess. This seat's actually in better condition than I thought it was. There's really nothing wrong with this one. So I might go ahead and just put these up for sale and then order the other ones and go from there. But yeah, just been out here just tidying up some wiring and stuff. And like I said, just mainly wanted to make a video showing how to get that out, and that it's really not that bad. So if you LS swap, Cody swap, you know, Hemi swap, whatever you're doing to a Foxbody Mustang, you don't need that any longer. So you can just go ahead and yank it out, and it's really not that bad. But yeah, just wanted to get a little video for you guys. So I'm going to end it off there. And as always, please comment, like, subscribe, share with your friends.